Hello, Dr. Joe here of the drjoe.com and the 2020from.com. So, what have I got in my hands here? Well, I've got two vitamin supplements. This is vitamin D2 on my right hand and vitamin D3 on my left hand. So, these two vitamins, we're going to be talking about them in this video. And this video was prompted by an email that I received from a gentleman the other day, and it read, "Hello, Dr. Joe. I have now decided to start using vitamin D supplements for immune support, having watched some of your videos." Thank you very much. I like that. But I am confused as to whether I should buy vitamin D2 or D3. Which is better? Very good question. Very good question. And, if you ask your doctor this question, they're probably going to tell you, well, D2, D3, doesn't matter, just buy any of them. And I used to be of that opinion myself until I got into lifestyle medicine, and lifestyle medicine makes you dig deeper into issues like this. So, in this video, we're going to answer that question, but we are going to be looking at the science, okay? I'm going to give you the answer based on science. So, let's kick things off by looking at study number 1. Now, we like this, okay? This is a randomized control trial, and it was published in a journal called Bone. And the title is Serum 25-hydroxy vitamin D levels. So when we check your blood levels for vitamin D, this is what we measure. It's the 25-hydroxy vitamin D, okay? So the title again, it says serum 25-hydroxy vitamin D levels in vitamin D insufficient hip fracture patients after supplementation with ergocalciferol and cholecalciferol. So for avoidance of doubt, ergocalciferol is vitamin D2 and cholecalciferol is vitamin D3. Okay, so they looked out for that in this very study. Okay, it's randomized. So, what was the study design for this study number 1? Well, like I said before, it was a randomized control trial and it was double-blinded, which was good, okay? And they recruited 95 hip fracture patients, randomized them, okay, we like that. They randomized them to receive 1,000 international units of vitamin D2 or 1,000 international units of vitamin D3. And the study ran for 3 months. Okay, so that's pretty good. We like that. So what did they find in the study? Well, they found that D3, okay, when they supplemented with D3, D3 resulted in a 52% greater rise, okay, 52% greater rise in 25-hydroxy vitamin D than D2. And the method of measurement was radioimmunoassay, which is quite an advanced way of measuring vitamin D. So that's a very good study. It's randomized. They used an advanced method of measuring the vitamin D levels in the blood, and they saw a 50% greater rise when the patients were supplemented with vitamin D3 compared to vitamin D2 supplementation. So that's study number 1. Let's look at study number 2. Study number 2 was published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, and it's titled "Vitamin D2 is much less effective than vitamin D3 in humans." Don't you just hate it when the title of a scientific paper gives the game away straight away? I don't like that. Well, they've given the game away here, okay? It is what it is. Anyway, what was the study design? It wasn't a big study, okay, but it was significant all the same, okay? So, study number 2 had 20 healthy volunteers, and they gave them a single dose of 50,000 international units of vitamin D2 or 50,000 international units of vitamin D3. And they followed them up with blood tests over a period of 28 days. Okay, so you give them 50,000 international units of either D2 or D3, and then you check their blood for 25 hydroxy vitamin D levels over 28 days and see what happens. So what did they find? So I'm going to show you here the findings of this study in a graphical way. Makes it for you to understand it a lot better. So on the y-axis here, we've got vitamin D blood levels. So that's the 25 hydroxy vitamin D. Okay, that's what we measure, okay, when we checking for vitamin D levels. So y-axis vitamin D blood levels, and on the x-axis here is the days. Okay, days. So what did this study find? Now I have represented the D2 with in a purple color here. So this is D2, and then the D3 is in green. So what happened here was, when the volunteers were given 50,000 international units of D2 and they measured their vitamin D levels in the blood, what they found was that with the D2, it peaked, the levels started rising from the baseline here, and it peaked on day 3. Okay, day 3, the levels of D2 peaked, and then from then on the vitamin D blood levels, when they were supplemented with the D2, began to drop. Okay, so D2 25 hydroxy levels will rise, peak at day 3, and then they begin to decline, and by day 14, okay, the levels were back to pre-treatment levels. Okay, by day 14, when supplemented with 50,000 international units of D2. So what about D3? What happened? Well, when they were supplemented with 50,000 international units of D3, what then happened was the levels rose just like in D2, but the levels continued to rise beyond day 3, okay, continued to rise, and then peaked on day 14, okay? Day 14, that was the peak. And then from then on, the blood levels of vitamin D began to decline from day 14. So whereas for D2, the vitamin D levels begin to decline on day 3, for D3, decline started on day 14. And peak levels, day 3 for D2, peak levels for D3, day 14. So there you go. Clear difference. It's as clear as daylight between D2 and D3. Really no arguments about that. Okay, so it's very obvious from what I've just said. Oh, by the way, there's another study too that looked at the binding capacity of the metabolites of D3 and the binding capacity of D2. And what they found was that the metabolites of D3, okay, they bind to the protein that carries vitamin D in the blood. They bind better, the metabolites of D3 bind better than the metabolites of D2. So what that means is the metabolites of D3, they get ferried around the body a lot better than the metabolites of D2. So as you can see there, the difference between D2 and D3 is as clear as daylight. By the way, it's nothing to do with these brands, okay? It's nothing to do with the brands. This is just D2 and D3 in general, okay? It doesn't matter what brand you're using. So, like I promised, I wanted us to look at the science for us to answer that question. So comparing the two, D3, when you take it, the blood levels rise a lot better compared to the blood levels of D2. D3 has a longer staying power compared to D2, so D3 stays longer in the body, as you saw in that graph, and D3 appears to have better potency compared to D2, and the metabolites of D3, they have a better binding capacity to the protein that carries the metabolites around the body compared to the metabolites of D2 binding capacity. The difference between D3 and D2 is as clear as daylight. From the science, okay? This is not my opinion. From the science. So, do not shoot the messenger. And like I said, it's nothing to do with brands. So, it's all about which one you should use, okay? I'm only going by the science. So there you go. I have answered the question scientifically, and it's up to you what to do, all right? Hopefully you got some value from this video. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Please like the video. And also, please share this video with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you haven't joined us yet at the 2020 Forum platform, please go ahead and join us there. And let me know which of the supplements you are currently using. Are you using D2 or are you using D3? Let me know, please, in the comment section right below. I think that's about it. Until next time, this is Dr. Joe signing out.